Paul never thought of himself as a dog person. He preferred dogs to cats, just not enough to call himself a dog person. It had been his girlfriend's idea to adopt a puppy after all. She named him Stuart, after the British royal house. But rarely was Stuart called by his birth name. Stu, Stuco or Tutu were just a few entries on his ever-growing pantheon of nicknames. They'd sing him full Beethoven symphonies in his name. Stuart remained unimpressed. It had been a few months since Stuart heard one of those songs. Paul's girlfriend had moved back to England with Roger. Roger was his best friend from college. She took their car, but not Stuart. Turns out Roger was allergic to dogs. For 6 weeks, Stuart waited by the front door for his favourite human to come home.
Stu, dinner is ready.
Paul had never been his first choice.
Chicken or chicken?
His work kept him occupied most of the time. His girlfriend used to call him a workaholic. Like most workaholics, he denied his vice. He was a textbook introvert. Given a choice, he'd always pick a book to a block party. His better half did the socializing for both of them. If it wasn't for her, Paul would have never left his shell. Now he was back inside it. The breakup wound was still fresh. He attempted to heal it by drowning himself in more work.
2 minutes.
Stuart got the side effects of the medication. Every morning, Paul took Stuart for a short walk.
Bonjour, Stuart.
Fed him breakfast and made sure there was fresh water for the day ahead. On cold days, he'd leave the heater on. He kept an eye on him from work. Stuart slept most of the day. Sometimes Paul wished they could trade lives.
Stuart?
Back home, he took Stuart on another walk, fed him dinner, followed by a piece of fruit for dessert. When in season, wild strawberries were Stuart's favourite snack. They'd spend the evening watching old movies on TV, although Stuart did most of the watching.
Stuart?
Paul had attempted to negotiate the Italian sofa as off-limits when Stuart arrived.
Bedtime, buddy.
His girlfriend couldn't resist his puppy eyes. From time to time, he would check on her online. He wondered if she ever checked on him. Paul's job required him to travel around Europe every few weeks. Stuart stayed home with the dog sitter. It was on one of those trips that Paul got an urgent call.
Hello?
Stuart had found his way to a slice of chocolate cake. Paul took the first flight back. He spent the night at the hospital as he couldn't bear leaving the little guy alone
Stuart
there.
est prêt.
Seeing Stuart infirm had shown Paul a side of himself he didn't know he had. He always knew he'd outlive his dog, but in that moment, Paul promised himself he'd make the most out of every day left. The morning walks got longer, the work hours shorter.
Bonjour Maurice. Bonjour Paul. Bonjour petit saucisson.
The incident also granted Stuart unlimited access to Paul's bed. He would never let the little guy sleep by himself again. As years passed by, Stuart's vet visits became more frequent. Despite his ever-growing medicine cabinet, he remained a good sport. Paul took a different job so he could work from home. Stuart's nose was not the same anymore. From time to time, he would check the kitchen, longing for another piece of that delicious chocolate cake he once had. One of Stuart's earliest memories was arriving in the Paris apartment. There were 2 humans who shared his new home. It didn't take long for him to pick his favourite one. the one who let him on the Italian couch. Besides, he blamed the man for the large cone that was put around his head. All in all, they lived a good life in the Paris apartment. As time went by, things started to change with the man and the woman who lived there. They'd yell at each other or just stop talking. Sometimes she would cry alone in the bathroom. Sometimes he would spend the night on Stuart's couch. One morning, she gave Stuart a longer than usual hug and left. Day after day, he waited patiently for her to come back. The Paris apartment was a much quieter place now. Stuart would do his best to fill in the silence. He missed playing fetch with the woman.
Sorry, buddy. Almost done.
The man, it turns out, seemed less interested in balls. One day he was away and Stuart found his way to the best meal he ever had. He wondered why he had been deprived of such delight all his life. Things changed again after that. Stuart wasn't sure why, but the man was spending more time with him at home.
Then the dinosaur said,
They'd have long conversations into the night, although the man did most of the talking.
"Can you believe that?"
He was also allowed to sleep in the man's bed. Stuart's bed now. Stuart decided to make the most of the situation. Come to think of it, the man wasn't all that bad after all. He took Stuart to chase squirrels in the park, gave him fruit, and even grew a sudden interest in balls. Life was good in the Paris apartment. As time passed, though, Stuart couldn't help but notice the man's concerned eyes. He wondered what troubled him so much. They were visiting the cone people more often, Stuart realized, though he couldn't recall if the man got his anal glands checked the last time. Stuart's short legs felt heavier now. He wondered how squirrels had gotten so much harder to catch. He spent most of his days taking long naps. He would dream of running in the park with the man, his favorite human by now. One day, Stuart woke up in a different place. He was surrounded by more cone people than usual. They all had the same concerned eyes. He wanted to know why humans seemed so troubled. Sometimes he wished they could trade lives. It was early in the morning when she got the call. Mary had hesitated to pick up at first. It had been a long time since they last talked. Her train arrived in Paris later that day. She went directly to the vet. She had kept an eye on Stuart through Paul's Instagram, but had not held him in her arms since she left for London. Her life was very different now, but seeing Stuart again reminded her how much she still loved the little guy. She gave him a really long hug, as if trying to make up for all the lost time. Stuart was happy to see them together again. He wondered if they could make space for her in his bed. It had been a long day. He was ready for another long nap. Phoebe was only 4 months old when she arrived. She remembered looking around, wondering who else lived there. She thought she may have smelled another dog, but wasn't sure as her nose wasn't fully developed yet. Phoebe didn't know what life had in store for her in the Paris apartment. The only thing she knew was that the man standing in front of her was a dog person. That she was sure about.